Hey there. Good evening, everybody. This is the Creative Buzz podcast, a glimpse into the local arts hive mind. My name is Johnny Tran, and I will be your host this evening. And the podcast, we cover San Diego arts and culture industry. And tonight, we are going to be talking about a lot of cool things. First, we have a pre recorded interview with artists Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy. They'll be having their featured art show coming up at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla. We'll also be talking about the homelessness crisis in San Diego. Uh, Hits yet another record for the fifth straight month, which affects tourism, which negatively affects the arts and culture industry that is dependent on tourism. I want so that's what we got going on. I hope everybody's doing okay. Um, Feel free to send any comments. I can see you guys on Instagram, and I should be able to see your comments on Facebook too. Usually, I think you have to comment on the actual video part of it. Hopefully that's working. Okay. Anyways, I want to let you know that Creative Buzz podcast is sponsored by Thumbprint Gallery. We were founded in 2009. Thumbprint Gallery curates monthly and pop-up art exhibitions featuring mid-career, emerging, and established artists with a focus on contemporary pop culture, nostalgia, urban art, and pop surrealism. The gallery seeks to provide an eclectic and engaging atmosphere to view art by bringing people together in appreciation and support of local, national, and international artists. And also, don't miss out on our current group art exhibition titled Arrested Motion. Um, Here's a little video of what we got going on there in the Arrested Motion group show. It's currently on display until January 28th at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla. Now, the gallery is open every Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and also by appointment. So don't hesitate to give us a call or an email or send me a message and come check out the gallery if you can't make it to our Saturdays from 12 to 4. Now, I also want to let you know about an upcoming event at Bar Basic in downtown this Wednesday, the Year of the Rabbit art show. And we will be celebrating the Lunar New Year, which is Year of the Rabbit. Here is flyer for that. That's at Bar Basic in downtown. Wednesday, January 18th, 6 to 9 p.m. And thanks everybody who has been coming out to support our Bar Basic shows. It's important to us, and that is kind of where we got our start. And it's a good opportunity for artists to just get out there, sell the art, but also gain exposure and experience, especially if you don't have that much experience showing your art. It's a good way to get started. And also, if you are a more established artist, it's still a great way to come out and get connected with the rest of the arts community. And like I was saying, our artists we interviewed for today, Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy, they uh, they have upcoming art show titled All at Once, also at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla, and that starts on February 3rd. And the opening reception is 4 to 9 p.m. on February 3rd. The show will be on display until February 25th. And then on February 11th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Micah and Brandon will be having a special event for a new art print release and also some live music. So at Thumbprint Gallery as well. It's another opportunity for you to check out the show all at once. And yeah, so I guess we have some comments here on Facebook. Noni Cruzado says Bar Basic shows is a good way to get to know the community. 100% agree. Thanks for that comment, Noni. Noni has had solo shows at Thumbprint Gallery. I think maybe once a year for the last couple of years. And on Instagram, Raymond Lafferty says, "Good evening. What's going on, Raymond? How's the art going?" All right, so yeah, so come on by February 3rd, all at once. Art show, Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy. And here is the pre-recorded interview with Micah and Brandon. Hope you guys enjoy. Give me 1 second here. Hey, so we're here with Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy. They have an art show coming up at Thumbprint Gallery titled All at Once, opening February 3rd. The opening reception is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And also there'll be a special print release event party on February 11th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Thumbprint Gallery. Hope everybody can make it out. And Micah and Brandon, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. We're excited to talk about it and any other questions you might have.
Cool. Yeah, I'm stoked. So just to get us started, I'll start with Micah, and then I'll ask Brandon the same question. But maybe you could tell everybody listening a little bit about yourself and how you got started making art, and the whole process, how we got here.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm initially from Coachella Valley. I moved down to like North San Diego to go to school, and then I just kept making artwork. Both of my parents, they're artists. They're both really talented. So I just kind of grew up in that environment of just wanting to create stuff.
Okay. Runs in the family.
Yeah, so it runs in the family. But yeah, I got involved with the art scene in San Diego. And then so it kind of like showing in galleries kind of gave me like creative freedom to like keep creating work. So this upcoming show that we're having all at once is just a collection of our work, really. Just what we've had in the past and like our current work we're working on. And the all at once is a play on the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, I believe it's called. So we got really obsessed with that movie.
I just saw it.
You saw it? Did you like it?
That was great.
Yeah, it's great. Like every time I watch it, I find something new every time watching it. So there's like so many hidden stuff in it. But it's also a play on just like how life can get, and it's been pretty chaotic lately. So all at once kind of is a fitting like title for the show and for life, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. And Brandon, tell us a little bit about yourself and when did you start making art and how did it all happen?
I started probably making artwork and like, drawing and stuff in elementary school, and
Okay.
just like little stuff here and there. My parents weren't really the creative types, but my
Hmm.
older brother was, and so I took after him in that. And we would always just draw stuff or make something random or just build or just create anything that we can. And then I've actually never done an art show, and this is going to be my first one. I've just always made stuff just for kind of the fun of it or just to see what I can do.
But
And
we've had you at in our art shows, have we not?
wait, that's wrong. I had one. I was in the Filipino one.
Yeah.
I made a banana. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this one. I totally forgot about that.
Yes.
Do you want to
You-
explain the banana, like what the inspiration when you showed that one?
Oh, okay. So there's the Filipino art show, and
Mhm.
this was kind of right after the time that they had the art basil banana that was
Yeah.
really
Oh yeah.
famous and kind of like shocked the art world.
Mhm.
So I did a kind of a hyper realistic painting of the what's it called? It's the Filipino banana. It's a little small.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that piece.
Yeah. And then the art basil banana was called the comedian, and then
Mhm.
so this banana is the Filipino banana. So I called it Joe Coy, which like is such
Oh
a weird
yeah.
joke that like no one got.
I know who he is now, but I didn't know who he was then.
Yeah, I love it. He's funny.
I have to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah. This is my second art show.
Yes. I feel like it's more than your second, honestly. I think there was even another one you may have forgotten, but I could be wrong.
You did a giraffe piece for the.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay, I've done a few.
He
Good.
forgets because I like kind of urge him because I know he's really talented.
Mhm.
So I feel like every time you guys reach out to me, I'm just like, hey, you should like showcase your work because like I want the world to kind of see your work as well as much as I appreciate it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did that.
So it's like always last minute. So I think that's why he's kind of forgetting the two other group showings he's done.
I totally forgot.
Well, would Micah, would you say you're the one that is like kind of the organizer of the two of you, like putting things together?
Yeah, I think so. I don't want to speak for both of us.
Yeah, no, this whole morning when we were trying to figure out everything, I was like just doing my thing. She was stressing about it, getting it
Oh,
all.
the print thing?
Yeah, they get the prints and all the.
Yeah, working all that out.
Yeah, no, but thank you guys again for being patient with us.
Yeah, no worries. It should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be the more the merrier for the events. But yeah, I feel like I do organize a lot of the stuff, and I'm a stress ball, so I usually
Mhm.
have to have everything pre-planned, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no worries. So tell us a little bit more about the show. You said like the title was inspired by the movie. Um, Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what mediums you use for the show? And
Yeah. So I'll go first, and then Brandon can kind of speak
yeah.
for it. But it's for me, it's mostly a lot of my oil paints because I think this year I've been pretty reflective on all the work I've done, and the movie itself is kind of about like it's a little nihilistic, existential, but it's also like a dark comedy.
Oh, you mean that's how you interpret the movie?
Yeah, that's like
Mm,
one of the ways like that
a
I've
little
kind
bit. Could have been darker. I've seen
It,
much
it
darker
definitely
movies.
could have been darker. It was I mean I found comedic relief in it, and
Oh
also kind of was reflective. So I kind of
yeah.
like those two aspects combined. Um,
Mhm.
So I feel like that's, yeah, like with my work, I've just been like kind of collecting it and kind of looking back at it, and then also it's all at once because a lot of stuff has been going on. I recently I'm finishing up like an apprenticeship. I don't know for tattooing. That's another segue into like this whole show.
Okay. How did that come about?
Yeah. Well, after I graduated, I still wanted to do artwork, and then it was during the peak of like COVID pandemic. So I wanted to like continue learning new art forms without like being on online classes because I kind of found that really difficult during that time. I'm sure like a lot of people did as well. So the only route I kind of found that like fit all the categories I was looking for was tattooing. And once I started getting into it, I found a shop at Vista Body Art in Vista off of Mission. They took me in, and then I got taught by a couple different mentors there. But yeah, that's kind of taken away from oil painting. So I feel like I'm like I'm getting back into painting again. It's like just finding that constant balance is really difficult for me. And I'm sure like a lot of other people find that in other things like hobbies that they love.
Right.
And it's just like, just been having to make a lot of decisions of like honing in on tattooing versus painting. And then I realized like the techniques and styles are different. And then it's just finding a good middle ground of like still doing what I love at heart, which is painting, and then also improving and progressing in tattooing. So that's for me, that's what this art show is about.
Okay. All at once, you're doing all these different art forms, and you know, trying to move ahead in the world.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Figuring it out, just
figuring out
once, like if that makes sense.
That's pretty good. I think that fits the movie definitely for sure.
Yeah.
And Brandon, do you feel like you're doing it all at once, or?
Yeah, kind of the same boat as she is. Kind of a lot of stuff just in life happening all at the same time, being and getting married and all this stuff. And then as far as the artwork goes, like it's hard for me to like nail down the theme with all the stuff that I have. They seem like they're kind of random, or they just don't go together. But like the whole theme is like all these things that are different coming together all at once.
Right.
It falls into it that way.
So are you guys showing like a lot of different styles or different mediums, or?
I have like acrylic and oil only, and then for the most part, it's all around realism and like hyperrealism.
Okay.
They're all weird, and they saw them together, like just two of them together at any point, you'd be like, well, why are these together? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Some have more color than the other ones. Some are black and white.
Okay, I got it. So you do like do you do any other mediums? Like I know you do some murals.
Yeah, I've done one mural.
Okay.
Really so far, which was for the restaurant that I worked at. They let me like take up a whole wall, and that was. And like that was a Japanese, because it was a Japanese restaurant. That was like a Japanese style art. So I have like some Japanese style art, and then I also have some other just non-Japanese art realism.
Was it challenging to do a larger scale?
It was very challenging, but the hardest part, or like the most frustrating part, was for like a week. I bought a bunch of the big tubes of oil paint, and then I bought them by Windsor, and then Windsor also sells acrylic paint that looks exactly the same, and it had one color. I think it was red. That was acrylic, and so I'd be mixing them, and like I couldn't figure out what was going wrong, and like I was like losing my mind. And then I read the bottle, and then I was gonna cry. I was like, oh my god, wow, everything's happening.
Well, I'm sure you won't do that again.
Yeah, no, actually, I've done it one more time.
Okay.
I figured,
but the next time, for sure, is not going to happen. And you'll remember, just like you remember your art shows. Okay, so maybe one more time, and then after that, you're good.
more time. I'll figure it out. I believe in myself.
Right on. Right on. So you mentioned getting married. So not only are the two of you doing an art show together, you're engaged to be married, and Brandon, you actually made the engagement ring from scratch. Like, how did that come about? How did you learn to do that?
Uh, that was like an idea that I had when probably like a year into our maybe like 6 months. I figured I was gonna marry her, and then
Thinking
uh,
ahead, I like
I
that.
wanted to do something like different or special, or just make it unique somehow. And then
Yeah.
uh, I did a bunch of research to see how hard it might be to make a ring, and
So
if I'm
you didn't know you're not a jeweler?
I had no
Wow.
idea what to do.
You
Uh,
really are doing it all at once.
yeah, that was.
Okay, yeah, all right.
I didn't think it was gonna. To be honest, like I didn't never told her anything about it or anything.
Right, right.
One was because I wanted it to be a surprise, but also like I didn't know if I was gonna be able to pull it off. And there's like a lot of luck involved too, just like stuff happening in the right way. I broke 3 rings in the process.
What did you make it out of?
It's sterling silver and
Okay.
diamond on top.
Okay. Wow.
Uh,
So you like melted down the silver
yeah,
and
I had to carve a wax cast and then get a tiny little kiln and burn it out and then put silver in it and figure out a
wow.
way to make a suck. There's like my dad let me use his garage during this time, which was nice. So like I told her I was going to work, and my work is usually like 13 hours straight just because like of a it's a
Mhm.
restaurant. So I just be gone.
It's a what? What's the work?
I work at a restaurant.
Okay, yeah. Got it.
So I'd be gone for just sitting in a garage. This was during summer, and I remember I'd have the kiln on, and it was in a hot garage, and I had a little thermometer. It was like 110 degrees. I was just like sweating, just trying to figure out how
Wait,
to.
have you ever used a kiln or have you ever done any of that?
I found the kiln on OfferUp, and then
You never used one before?
I had to figure out how to.
You're crazy. That is pretty amazing.
That was
Wow,
He's
a
crazy.
lot of work.
that's brave.
Yeah, I'm glad
I
I
like
worked.
that.
That would have sucked of all this equipment and.
So it turned out good?
Yeah, it turned out. I finally got it on like the 4th try.
Mhm.
Finished it, polished it, and then like, I was just like surprised I finished it and got it done. And actually, because I wanted to do it when we went to our family trip in Bass Lake where we go to Yosemite.
Mhm.
We wanted to do it at the top of Yosemite. And we ended up doing it on North Dome.
The
But
proposal, you mean?
I remember I had the 3rd ring. I was like 95% done, and then I got the diamond inside, and then I went to, and this is like maybe like a week and a half before. I went to the diamond wasn't sitting super flat, so I went to open up the prongs, and in the process, I broke the diamond.
Oh,
And this was maybe 10 days before we were supposed to leave. I was like, "There's no way." And then so I just rush ordered a diamond and tried it one last time, and I finished it the day before.
wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I have to work late tonight, and then it's
Oh my god.
right before it. So that was another. It was a lot of luck, and a lot of. I was surprised I was able to.
And it's intact and all that.
Yeah, it's intact.
It's beautiful. I didn't even realize he made it to give you an idea of how it looks. It looks
Oh, wow.
professional done, yeah. And then
Wow.
I think after he proposed and I was still in shock, we were hiking down from North Dome and he was like, "Do you like that style? Like I designed it and everything." I was like, "What do you mean you designed it?" And then he's like, "I made it." He also made the box it came in. So
I mean, if he's never used a kiln, I wouldn't have believed it either.
yeah,
Wow.
he's very much like, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. Like he's
Yeah.
like that, and yeah, very
Wow.
impressive.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
I think all my best work is stuff that at the beginning I didn't think I was going to be able to do. Like the mural, I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And then probably a couple other stuff. And for some, just able to do it. Just kept going at it.
Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, I guess so. Literally.
It's always like last minute too that it finishes like right on the dot. This show, I'm gonna finish it right on the dot.
Well, as long as you finish it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good story. So you both went to art school, or?
No, I majored in art. I went
Okay.
to
That's
San
what I meant. That's what I meant. You studied art in school.
Yeah, I just studied it. I didn't go to actual art school, but I've had like art teachers in the past and stuff that have helped me progress and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't have too much actually of a art background
Okay.
for school per se. I just always made stuff, and then she actually was the one to introduce me to kind of like the art world and all these people creating stuff and going to shows. And every now and then I would go to a random show kind of by myself, but I didn't know like how accessible it was to other artists, or if you wanted to give it a shot and things like that. And so she really exposed me to that side of everything.
Okay. Cool. And we'll start with Micah. Who are some artists that you kind of look up to or are influenced by, either from art history or artists you know, or people you grew up with?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like every time I think about this question, there's like I know a lot of like the art Instagram handles too.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know the artist's actual names, but
Okay.
recognize the work. But some people on Instagram that I've always admired is there's Miles Art. I think that's his name.
Okay.
He's done some like album art for Tool. He does like a lot of surreal realism, but his light theory is really cool, which I value because he can do like these crazy surrealist kind of pencil drawings or pen drawings, and the light source is correct in almost all of them, and it's really impressive because it's just a surreal, like whimsical dreamscape too. And then who else am I into? I don't know. There's also like local people that like people I consider like friends or like acquaintances that I know from art shows. So like Alvin, he's
Okay.
your shows. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Victor Viral Boa, I think is his Instagram.
Yeah, Victor Roman.
Yeah, Victor. I'm trying to think who else. I'm just trying to like plug people that I know just to get them.
Yeah, do it. It's great.
Is it Eva? Is that her name, Eva? She's done the Trust Me box.
Evgola.
Evgola, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
I've never met her in person. I just know her work.
Okay, yeah, we had her on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I feel like art history wise, I like Dolly, the surreal. Yeah, classic. And then I liked Egon Schiele for a while. He was Gustav Klimt's the guy who did the Kiss, the famous Kiss painting. That was his apprentice, but he almost did a darker turn, kind of. So his work is similar but different to Gustav. Like you can see some aspects that are similar, but his artwork's more like found colors almost. So I think Brandon ran off to do something real quick.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So what is your favorite part about being an artist, and what is the biggest challenge?
Oh, probably like I'm gonna start with the challenge first. Probably like finding the balance, because I think the challenge and the reward of being an artist are like the same thing, kind of just like finding that balance of like for me, art's a coping mechanism, but it could also be a profession if I choose for it to be.
Right.
So finding that sweet spot of like still making the work you want to create, but also not taking away from like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like I just think it's a balance. Because
balance between doing art for yourself and doing art for essentially money.
yeah, like doing art for others versus yourself, like just finding that balance and
Just like a life work balance, kind of almost.
yeah,
A little more complicated for artists though than just simply life work.
yeah, like it bleeds into itself, kind of like it's like you
Yeah.
take work at home if you're an artist too. Like I'm finding that with tattooing because I do have like clientele and stuff, and then
Mhm.
I'll leave the shop, the tattoo shop, and I'll still be answering people till like
Oh yeah, the business stuff.
yeah, it's like the business follows. So it's the same thing with artists in like any field, I feel like. So it's rewarding to be able to be like paid to do the work that you love to do, but it's also it's difficult to balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And Brandon, who are some artists that you kind of look up to or are influenced by, either from art history or contemporary artists, or even people in the scene, or people you know, people you grew up with, even?
Actually, people I grew up with would be my brother.
Okay,
He's a graphic design artist now, and
cool.
it's his like mine works in a different way where everything's really structured and
Hmm.
really clean looking and everything's even. And I kind of came at art the other way where it's just kind of sloppy until it looks good.
Okay.
But yeah, he was an inspiration when I was growing up.
Hmm.
Art history, I did a lot of research. Actually, what the reason I got up was to grab a book, which was like
Oh, okay.
uh, this is a style like Soga Shahaku, which
Uh-huh.
is artists in Japan, and I just really like kind of that era of the Japanese art because they closed themselves off to the rest of the world, and so they
Okay.
for like hundreds of years they were just making art kind of in a bubble, and
What
so
era are you talking about? Like what?
it's the Edo period in Japan
Okay.
where Soga Shahaku like that's during the time that he lived, and
Okay.
everything just is so different. Like the way they show water is with hard lines and
Mm.
the structure of the body kind of doesn't make sense in a way that during the same time that like European art kind of knew the anatomy, they didn't. So
Mm. Mm.
it has this like weird character looking kind of wrong, but also it's like the character of that type of art, which I really liked because it was when I was doing like the Japanese art, it was really hard for me to do because I understood like the anatomy and then I had to understand kind of how to do it wrong. But like
Mm.
to actually like embody that type of style of artwork. And so I studied a lot of, or like I just looked at a lot of Soga Shahaku's work, which was probably my favorite artist in the past. And then artist now I really like. I think his name's like Casey Bogue. Uh,
Okay.
he that's what I just followed him on Instagram.
Mm.
But he does these portraits where if you look really closely, they're like blurry. There's not super detailed, but not even from a far distance. So like you just take a step back and it looks like a photo. And I don't get how he
Hmm.
does it. I think is one of the reasons why I really like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the accuracy of his color and where to like place structure and color is really just well done. And like it's something that like I'd want to be able to do, but I can't do now.
Hmm.
And so I think that's why I really like him. I've just been looking at his stuff a lot recently, trying to figure out how he does it.
Do you find yourself like I don't know, looking up to, or I don't know, admiring art because you don't know how they did it? Is that like
Yeah, I really
kind
yeah
of like a factor or major I don't know.
yeah. I think when I see a work of art and a lot of times I try and like imagine like kind of where they were sitting and like how they were doing it, and then if I could see something where I have no clue like how they were able to pull
Mhm.
off it, I end up staring at it for a lot longer trying to just figure it out. And it's a lot more fun for me to see stuff like that like it makes my mind start going and try and figure stuff out.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And what's your favorite part about being an artist, and what's the biggest challenge of being an artist?
My favorite part would probably just be like I have an outlet to, I have an idea, I have a way to kind of just express or just do something about that idea that I have,
Mm.
which is really nice because like I find it like really calming because I'll be like amped up on just trying to figure out the idea that I have in my head, and then I can put it to paper or to canvas or something, and after a while, just like I get in the zone and everything like calms down, and I can try and figure it out. It's like a puzzle kind of.
Okay.
Uh, and then what's the second half of that?
Biggest challenge.
Biggest
Hardest part. Remembering your art shows.
Remember, I think a challenge I have because I know it's a big factor, especially now. If you want to be seen or if you want to have more opportunity for your art, is using social media, things like that. Just because I get distracted super easily.
Yeah.
So I have it on my phone. I notice that like I'm losing time that I could be putting towards.
Oh yeah, that's like every day for me.
It's hard, and but like there's also like it's part of your getting out there, and it's part of opportunity to do more stuff is using social media. So it's like finding a way to use it without it like just using you the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is a struggle for me. So like right now I don't have it on my phone. Haven't used it really in like a couple months.
What?
I was like,
Crazy.
it's weird because like during that time I was able to do, you know, some of the artwork that I really wanted to do, and I don't know if I'd be able to do it both have social media on my phone and do that. But I mean, it's a balance that like we're both trying to figure out.
Yeah, I gotta figure out some kind of system. It's hard.
I thought about having like two phones, and like one phone just stays out of my pocket, and that's my social
Wow,
phone.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I need to get
phones. That might be worth it.
Yeah, or I thought about getting a flip phone and having a flip phone on me, and then
how would that change anything? Oh, because you can't do it.
Can't do anything, and then I have the other phone, the smartphone, in like my desk or something, and so if it's not on me all the time, so I can use it, and then I can leave if I need to get off of it.
Right on. Yep. So Micah, well, I'm gonna ask both of you this question, but Micah first. What advice do you have for artists just starting out and looking to begin showing at art galleries and stuff like that? What advice?
Yeah, probably just to get out there. And I'm guilty of not doing this recently. Just life's just been busy, kind of what we've reiterated. But probably just going out to shows. That's what helped me the most to get out. My first show was at La Bodega in North Park, I think, the original location. Yeah.
Barrio Logan, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, I went to La Bodega, and I would just go every, I don't know if it was like a Friday or Saturday. But I would just go by myself, look at artwork, talk to artists, and then I think by like the third time I went by myself, I ended up talking to the gallery owner, Chris. And he was like, "Do you do art?" And I was like, "Yeah, I love art." And he was like, "Do you want to show at our next show?" And I was like, "I'd love to." So just like little things like that can like move like your whole career forward, kind of in that sense.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, more involved than you'd think. Even if it's scary at first, because at first I didn't want to go by myself, but I was new in college too. I didn't really know anyone.
Oh, right.
And I had a professor who gave me the advice of like, if you want to be a part of this community, you have to try, and it's gonna like be awkward, but it'll be worth it.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And Brandon, any advice for artists just starting out and looking to begin showing at art galleries?
I'd say try and be more open, or like realize that well, at least for me, when I first thought about like having an art show or something before I met Mike, and before I kind of went to any art shows. I thought it was like a one of those like really high end, like you have to know somebody who knows somebody, and like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like off putting or
Oh, okay.
you. And then I actually started going to art shows and meeting people, and it's so much more personable than I thought. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
meet people, and like everyone there is like they're there because they're a fan of artwork itself. So like you
Right.
this common ground with everyone there, and you can talk about it and be real open, and that community is like a lot more accepting. So bad advice to just like try it out and like realize like how actually nice it is to be around people that also love art and do things for that reason, and it'll help get your artwork out there because you just start building a community, and you just it's so personable that like you'll have 5 people's phone numbers, 20 people's Instagrams if you just go to
Mm-hmm.
show, and
Yeah.
you can just keep building your community that way and getting your stuff out that way.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Well, thank you guys both for being on the podcast, and looking forward to checking out the art exhibition all at once at Thumbprint Gallery starting on February 3rd. Opening reception is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. and then special print release event with
Yes.
live music February 11th,
Yeah.
5 to 9 p.m. Okay, cool. Thank you guys.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course. Thanks for having us. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. See you soon.
See ya.
You guys.
Cool. So that was Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy. So be sure to check out their art show. Starts February 3rd at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla. Opening reception 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And also special print release event February 11th, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yeah, cool. And I like everything they're saying about just kind of getting in touch with the community and the arts community. And that really helps your career. Now, another way you could get out into the arts community is to check out Vanguard Culture's call to artists and performers for their new upcoming event. They're looking for visual artists and performing artists. The event is called Envision, ENVZN 23, Envision 23, I think. I think that's what it's supposed to say. So, one of a kind visual and performing arts festival, spearheaded by the innovative arts nonprofit Vanguard Culture. This groundbreaking event will take place in the Logan Heights community of San Diego on September 2nd, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Envision 23 aims to spark increased cultural tourism for our region and highlight the virtuosity of its creative sector. We expect 5,000 design professionals, art patrons, and other culture seekers from the San Diego, Tijuana region to attend. Envision will invigorate the commercial street corridor with inclusive and diverse multisensory art interventions, ranging from video art to contemporary dance, live music and theater, puppetry, spoken word, short film screenings, full scale art installations, and more. The Envision Festival will return in 2024 for an audience of thousands of design professionals and culture seekers from around the region and around the world. Find out more information at vanguardculture.com. Submissions are due March 1st, so you should get on that as soon as possible. And yeah, Vanguard Culture has been pretty good about supporting the local arts industry and local artists. And another way to support, to really get in touch with the arts community is through networking. And that's why we are having the Eclectic Arts and Entertainment Industry Mixer at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla on Saturday, April 29th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Artists, filmmakers, musicians, actors, performers, poets, fashion designers, models, promoters, arts-related nonprofits, and for-profits. Come on out, make contacts, socialize, have fun. There's no cover, complimentary drinks. Saturday, April 29th, 5 to 7 p.m. at Thumbprint Gallery in La Jolla. And come and help support the arts and get involved in the arts. Oh, let's see here. I didn't know I could do this. Okay. There's a comment from Noni Cruzado, and it says, and James Jean designed the poster. He's referring to, I believe, the movie poster for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's the film that inspired the art show from Micah and Brandon Dristy. So yeah, thanks for the comment, Noni. Speaking of supporting the arts, it's important to understand, what it is that is keeping the arts going. Obviously, great nonprofits like Vanguard Culture is important, but also part of their initiative and vision is to bring more tourism into San Diego to attract arts and culture lovers. But one thing that is working against attracting more tourists right now in San Diego is the ongoing homelessness crisis. And for the 5th straight month in a row, the number of homeless individuals on the streets of downtown San Diego has hit a record high. The Downtown San Diego Partnership counted 1,839 unhoused people and a record 671 tents on December 29th. So it's 5 months in a row. There have been record-breaking numbers of homeless people in downtown San Diego. Here's a chart. Check it out. It's pretty crazy. And a part of the problem, at least in the short term, is there is consistently a shortage of homeless shelter beds available for those that do want it. The Voice of San Diego reported on this recently, and they write, and I quote, just 37% of the 6,620 referrals by outreach workers and police officers ultimately resulted in a homeless resident shelter being placed in shelter during a nearly 6-month period that ended in mid-September. A Voice of San Diego analysis of shelter referrals routed through the San Diego Housing Commission reveals. That means nearly 2/3 of referrals in an average week did not lead to someone who wanted shelter moving into a bed, despite the push to add hundreds of city-funded shelter beds over the last year. The leading cause of referrals going unfulfilled was simply that there weren't enough of them, said Lisa Jones, the Housing Commission's Executive Vice President of Strategic Initiatives. And in fact, the Mayor Todd Gloria, and I'm not quoting now, this is me talking, Mayor Todd Gloria said in his State of the City address last week that shelters are consistently 92% full. So having short-term shelters allows those experiencing homelessness the stability to start doing what they need to do to eventually get back on their feet and get a roof over their heads. However, on the other side of the coin of the homelessness crisis is the lack of housing supply, but in particular, the lack of affordable housing. This lack of supply is causing the price of homes and rents to continue to skyrocket out of reach of everyday people, including many artists and arts and culture industry workers who are finding it harder and harder to make ends meet in San Diego, forcing them to leave and sapping our struggling arts and creative scene even more of fresh and much needed talent. And we have on this podcast previously detailed how the tech gentrification phenomenon did create a cost of living crisis in San Francisco. And we detailed how that wreaked havoc on the art scene there and how it is happening here now in San Diego. And this was on the podcast episode that aired live on August 20th in 2020. So go check it out on our YouTube if you do have time. Now, last week, Scott Lewis from Voice of San Diego penned an opinion piece detailing this phenomenon happening here in San Diego in response to Mayor Todd Gloria's State of the City address. And in this piece titled, "Yes, Homelessness is a Housing Problem," he wrote the following, and I'm quoting. Let me get a drink of water here. And he wrote, "When we create jobs, we increase the demand for homes across the entire spectrum of affordability. You can't have a conversation about this without someone pointing out that the only homes we see being built are luxury or citing some high rent they saw in an ad. So let's draw this out. If a biotech company attracts $500 million in investment and begins hiring scientists and project managers and accountants at high salaries, those employees are going to find places to live. If they can't find one in Carmel Valley or Poway, they will bid up the prices of homes in a place like North Park or Del Cerro. People who make less, who may have hoped to live in North Park or Del Cerro, will find those homes out of reach and begin bidding up prices in Barrio Logan or Lemon Grove. It goes all the way down the ladder until somebody ends up on the ground," end quote. So this is an issue of unaffordable housing and skyrocketing cost of living. And that is why I am a supporter of the proposal to raise the inclusionary housing ordinance to require 25% of new real estate developments to be affordable housing units. Now, city officials, candidates, and politicians who do not support this proposal, while also taking massive amounts of campaign donations from the real estate industry, should be looked at with deep suspicion. Their rhetoric around supposedly increasing middle and upper middle class housing supply without support of stronger rent controls to protect San Diego's most vulnerable should be met with profound skepticism by the local arts community. Now, it is also notable that Mayor Todd Gloria did sign an executive order to prioritize permitting of development proposals that have 100% affordable units. Let us keep an eye on this, make sure he actually does implement what he says he wants to do, and also keep the pressure on him to continue to rapidly increase the available homelessness shelter beds to help your fellow human being. All right, so that's basically all we have for the podcast. I just want to remind you that the Creative Buzz podcast is sponsored by Thumbprint Gallery, founded in 2009. Thumbprint Gallery curates monthly and pop-up art exhibitions featuring emerging mid-career and established artists with a focus on contemporary pop culture, nostalgia, urban art, and pop surrealism. The gallery seeks to provide an eclectic and engaging atmosphere to view art by bringing people together in appreciation and support of local, national, and international artists. Uh, Check out our online store, thumbprintgallery.com. Don't miss out on the current group art exhibition titled Arrested Motion, on display until January 28th. We're open 12 to 4 every Saturday. And of course, the show by Micah Mariah and Brandon Dristy, titled All at Once, starting February 3rd. Opening reception is that night, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next time.